Well, welcome back, readers, to another spine-tingling episode of Macabre and
Yes.
Company. Yes, my name is George.
And I'm Erica.
Oh my gosh, you're so
Oh,
beautiful.
you're so fantastic. Look what I'm wearing today. It is my jumper from the ship that we met on,
Oh
the
my
Carnival
gosh, that was the year we
Imagination.
met.
That was the year we met. And my
You
team
still
Georgia
have that
shirt.
t-shirt?
I still have this t-shirt.
No
And
effing
because it is
way.
your episode, I am wearing my Team Georgia shirt.
So for our listeners, Erica is so a million years ago. Did I give those out? I thought I'd done that on this. I thought that was the Sunshine that I did that on.
I don't remember what ship, but
I
I'm
gave them out to a
proud of
bunch
my
of
Team
people.
Georgia
So
shirt.
Erica is wearing a t-shirt from, oh my gosh, that must be 12 years ago.
It must
And
be.
it's a pink t-shirt and it says hashtag Team Georges on it. At the time, we worked on cruise ships together. And I had recently been promoted to cruise director and was shamelessly promoting myself as much as I could. But mainly when I look back on it, classic 20-something-year-old George, like just trying to be a social climber. It was nothing to do with the actual job. I was just like, everybody love me. Here's a t-shirt.
And I still love you, and I still wear the t-shirt.
Oh my God, I love that you still have it. And that's funny because a couple of weeks ago I was looking at old photographs from ships. And I saw a bunch of pictures of people wearing those, and I was like, I think nobody has that shirt still. I was like, that's so funny. I think it's like custom
I
ink, but
have
like
it.
way back when custom ink was like just starting to do online stuff. And I
Yeah.
ordered like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this is like, listen, give too much money to a young, stupid guy. Um, they must have costed me hundreds and hundreds of dollars at that time to get all those done and shipped to the ship and stuff. Anyway, I
Oh
love that.
yeah, for sure.
And the jacket she's wearing is from the Carnival Imagination. It's the cash jacket from the entertainment department. And
Yeah.
oh my
It has all of
gosh,
our
what
names
a
on the back.
fun
Yeah, it's so cute.
memories.
Yeah. I thought I'd take a trip down memory lane with my wardrobe today.
Oh, I love it. Oh, well, thank you so much. I love that. Well, I actually have a surprise for you as well, because so everyone, this is great news that I'm going to share with everyone. Our lovely Erica here has just landed herself a beautiful new grown-up job outside of the podcasting, and she started this week, and we're all super hyped and excited for her. So I actually thought, what a better time to do a full reading for you, Erica,
Oh my gosh,
my
how
beautiful
exciting.
hostess with the mostest on the other side of the Pacific.
Woo!
Just to get a little insight into the lead up to this new adventure that you're on with your T-Rex. I love that mug, by the way.
Thank you. It's full of matcha. It's giant and
Um,
it has a T-Rex on it, and the T-Rex is holding a teapot.
oh my God, that is so you. This is how you can tell that we're at opposite sides of the world right now because I'm actually drinking a can of hard juice.
Oh, good for you.
So I just thought it'd be really nice to talk about your lead up to this point and the future potential and a little bit of guidance to get you through this beginning. I mean, you've worked with this company before, but just this new chapter. I think it's a new chapter,
The new
well
chapter,
deserved.
yes.
I mean, I have
Thank
no
you. I'm
doubt
so
that you.
excited.
Oh. Okay, so I want to start by saying I was looking at old photographs of us and stuff, and I really channeled your energy today, and I was thinking about you a lot because I know your first week at the new job can be like daunting as well, especially when you're starting and you're in a position of being like a boss lady, and sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking. So I channeled your energy and wish you all the best. So let's start with the first card. So our first card represents our past. All right. And for the past, the first card that we drew was the Page of Swords, like a warrior.
Oh, this
Yeah,
warrior has a
what a great,
beautiful sword.
which I mean, I believe this is really symbolic of you, like as a warrior person. I think you're always strong. I've mentioned this before. Like even when I first met you, you were always so courageous and nothing really scares you. And if it does, you don't let people know it and you just battle through it. So I think it's great. I think this really represents not only your past, but also your life in general, right? And a reflection of that. The Page of Swords represents a young, idealistic mind that's brimming with excitement and eagerness to learn, explore, and discover new things. One thing that I know about you in your past as well, your travel, where you started traveling when you were young, you've had many adventures. I could never think I ever listen to a story of yours and think I've heard that before because you've done so much. And that's really telling of this card as well for your past. But I know that you love travel and you love adventure and you love all that sort of thing. Curiosity of the Page of Swords overcomes them, but it's often accompanied by stubbornness and a tendency to become detached from reality. Absolutely. In the
I'm so
beautifulest way possible.
detached.
Taking risks
So
and
true.
following our heart can be the things that the Page of Swords has mastered, but that doesn't always mean they'll succeed, There's been struggles, but keep that beginner's mindset to maintain optimism and enthusiasm. So just look how far you've come in your life as well. You know what I mean? And the things you've done and the places you've
Yeah.
been and the people that you know. I love our past and our history because we know so many people that are mutual, but all over the world. How cool! Like our friend pool together is just spread out, and I know that's not just me and you. That's everyone in our kind of like sailor family that we had.
Yeah.
Remain present and be wary of making any hasty decisions. I don't think you've ever made any hasty
Mm.
decisions. Maybe we did when getting tattoos in Ensenada, but you know what? There are stories to tell.
I love them still.
You
I
know,
do make hasty decisions though, George. That's pretty accurate because I don't have like the regular fear of things that most people have, where I
uh,
just will jump and ask questions later, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That might have been silly.
you
So
think
that
that's because
does
you grew
that.
up on a scary little island with bears in the wilderness.
Maybe, maybe.
Also, I'll photograph this as well so that you can see the spread and keep it for yourself because it's nice to reflect on. And I'll send you the meanings and
Thank
stuff
you.
too, and any notes. So the second card that we do is the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant is an ancient Greek priest. Now, this doesn't necessarily represent um, religion, but it represents a leader. It's the head of a church. It's the head of a belief. I think a lot of the things that you believe in are very beautiful in the way I think the world should be thinking, and I think you're very open in your mindset, and I think that's what's representing that. This card though represents your struggles in the past. The Hierophant encourages you to look at old age practices or seek out the advice of a leader before making your own choices. This card does not tell you to seek outdated traditions that don't serve you, but rather to search them out and look at them with a critical eye, gleaning what you can from these timeless sources, right? So this is like a past struggle. Maybe in
Mhm.
the past you didn't seek out advice where you should have, which may have led you either to the wrong place or maybe to a tougher place that you could have been in. But
Yep, that
again,
sounds like
remember
me.
this is struggles from the past. Does that kind of
Yeah, that checks out.
yeah?
Yeah,
It's
I'm a bit
good
of a
to
solitary oyster.
sorry.
I'm a bit of a solitary oyster. I don't often seek guidance.
Yeah, I think there's beauty that can be found in that though,
Yeah.
in so many ways. It's good to be individualistic, but there's also a lot to be learned from tradition. Even if that custom comes from a place where you've not felt seen before, like in a church or a nuclear family structure, remember that tradition doesn't always mean being stuck in the past or resistant to change, as many have felt in the queer community, especially those kind of feelings. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think you have. I think you're very, very different as a person, I think, to when I first met you in so many beautiful ways, right? I think you're more tolerant of humans outside of your closest group and the people that you trust. Like, and I don't think it's because you don't particularly like people. I think maybe there is a lack of trust in people at some point, and you've been not necessarily hurt by people, but let down by people, perhaps. So you've kind of kept people at arm's length and only kept your closest close. But I've definitely seen you grow from this. If you would have asked me 15 years ago when we met, um if I thought that you would have even entertained the idea of getting married, you know what I mean? Maybe I just didn't know you as
Yeah.
well, but I think you've definitely grown from that, and I think that's just a really good impression of where you've come as a person.
No, I think you've nailed it. Absolutely. Yeah, 50, I never thought I would get married.
Oh my gosh, and if this gets too personal for the podcast, you can totally cut shit
Oh my
out.
gosh, no, let the people
Or
know.
just
I'm
bleep stuff
into
out
it.
and be like tooreal.com. Okay, let's go to our next card. Our next card represents present feelings. So present feelings is the third card that we pulled, and we pulled the sun card, which
That card is
look at the card. It
beautiful.
has a unicorn on
There's
it.
a unicorn and sunshine and rainbows. Oh, I love
So I just got chills because this is representing your present for our readers. Erica and I have always connected over unicorns. I remember asking Erica one time. I think I don't know why we said it at the same time, but we were like, "What's your favorite animal?" One, two, three, and we both went unicorn. Like, and we
it.
both
Yeah.
laughed for maybe like 4 days about that moment. Right? It was so funny. Maybe it
Yeah,
was on the morning show, or
it
maybe
might
someone
have
asked us on
been.
the morning show, "What's your guys' favorite animal?" in like a Q&A thing, and we both went
Oh, I think
unicorn.
that's what it was. Yeah.
So I love that this card has come up for your present. I love that it's the sun. The sun is something that's all powerful. It is something that everybody on this planet, unless you're trapped in a basement, can see. You know what I mean? And it doesn't only just float there, but it brings life to the earth, right? Because without the
And
sun, we wouldn't have life, right? Which means it's the all
I,
powerful, right? Now this card
yes,
was
and I
brought to
love
us
the
though
sun.
in reverse
I
today.
d-
So that can mean something different, slightly off path. In reverse, the sun card is a call to embrace your inner child and let it out. So I think in your new job as well, like perfect. What a great time to reconnect with that person because you've always been the person that's connected with that, I think, in your adventurousness and your excitement and the things that you do. There's nothing braver than a child before an accident, right? Like a child learns to fear things from like getting bitten by a dog, or picking up a spider that they shouldn't do, or eating something that they shouldn't do. It's that's where kids grow their fears from. It's from experience, all passed down trauma from
100%.
parents, but that's for therapy. You're all caught up in being an adult and adulting and the stress that comes with it, and it's time to let yourself experience true joy. That's like just so perfect when you're starting a new job and embracing the future and moving on from one adventure to the next. Like it's so important to be joyous in
Yes.
that moment because if you go into it in any other mood, it's not going to continue, you know?
So true. I think I really have been embracing this week with like some reckless abandon and joy because it's kind of the only way I feel successful. And it is, you're right, it is like daunting and it is a lot and there's, lots of things to be learned, but that's a really great reminder to like keep doing it, keep on the path that I'm on.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. You may have experienced some serious setbacks that you're struggling to recover from. I think everyone at some point does, especially in a transition period in a career. The sun is here
Mhm.
to remind you that these obstacles were only temporary, you know, and you've moved on to the next moment, and that's what you should be focusing on.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our next card that got brought to us was representing hopes and desires for your future, things that you're feeling inside. Also, this card, although it represents hopes and desires, it can also be giving us guidance towards those hopes and desires. Sometimes in a transitionary period, we can feel a little bit lost. And that can be a long period, it can be a short period, but there's usually a moment of like, what the fuck, where am I? In this moment, like emotionally. So this card will give us some clarity on that. The card is actually the Judgment card, also a beautiful card right here.
Oh, wow. Yes. Look
Yeah,
at all the people. The sky is beautiful, pink and starry and purple.
yeah,
Ooh, that's fun.
gorge. So it was brought to us in reverse again, just like the previous card. This is reminding us that you're spending some quality time reflecting on yourself, which is allowing you to gain an understanding of the themes that run through your life. Ro's away at work for work right now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of time to like reflect, a lot of time to
Yeah.
meditate and think on
Hmm.
ourselves, which do you know what's so funny? I would say when I was younger, I never really, I hate being alone, right? And I think on a ship, there's a lot of times where you can feel very alone, even though you're surrounded by loads of people, and that's where we were for so long. But even like um as a teenager, there's times that I would be like, oh my gosh, I need to call a friend or I need to be around someone because I hate it. But as I've got older, I've realized there's nothing more beautiful and nothing more valuable to someone's mental health and spirituality than just being alone, even if it's just for a few hours, you know?
I love being alone. I'm the different than you, and
Yeah.
I have always loved being alone. And Rowan is the next best thing to being alone. He's my husband, the best person to be alone with, because he enhances my aloneness, but it is still really valuable for me to have Erica time and to be able to reset and to only think about me for a little bit, because that is I'm a true introvert in that aspect, where I like need to be away from people to recharge and to get back into my so I'm recharging, holding some crystals,
So the judgment card, when it's brought to us face value, like the right way up, it represents allowing ourselves to judge internally wrongs that have been done to us, hurts that have been caused to us, that sort of thing, disappointments. But it's reminding us to move past those and to forgive, because there's no greater feeling than forgiveness. When it's brought to us upside down, in reverse, I should say, proper English. When it's brought to us in reverse, it represents forgiving ourselves for like past regressions and mistakes, right? As humans, we tend to hold on to things a lot, and we hold on to more personal, issues than we do with others, and I think we have to remind that. So it's telling you to do that. I don't know what that could be about, but that's a you portion to analyze. And in this moment, trust that the universe has your back and going to push you to greater calling. And playing it safe isn't gonna get you there. You do you, right? Like, you never play it safe. You'll go for it. You have an inkling, you're gonna do it. So keep going.
Very true. Oh my gosh, I love it.
So the next card is the Queen of Cups. Work, Queen. Yeah.
Yes, Queen. Get that cup.
Look at her on her pink throne.
Yes, she's on the pink throne.
God, holding a gorgeous cup. It's full of tequila.
Full of tequila.
Actually, yummy. She's in a very Erica outfit. Look at those leggings.
Oh my gosh, yes. She's in some like fancy leggings. She's very, I'm feeling very represented.
Again, brought to us upside down in reverse today. This card represents future potential. Now, the reason we say future potential is because we can never read into your future using the tarot. Tarot is there to guide us. It's using energies to point us in the right direction and help navigate these situations in life and how to get to where we are. So future potential card, the Queen of Cups. Your own emotional well-being is the priority right now. Put aside other people's, focus on yourself, check in and ask a couple of questions. Are you feeling overwhelmed or out of touch with your own feelings? Are you taking on the feelings of others and sitting in codependent relationships? Remember to tune into your needs before anyone else's. So listen to yourself, put yourself first. And again, I think that's really representative of a transitionary period, particularly in a career or a move or a life event. It's really important to put yourself first. And that's just what the Queen of Cups is reminding you to do. She's saying, I'm a queen, girl. So are you.
Yes, Queen of Cups.
And our last card is representing action. How do we get there? Like, what do you need to do to really reach your full potential? We got the Three of Swords, which are hanging over someone who looks like they're praying or asking for guidance, but also levitating. Yeah. So it's a magical card with some great, the swords are hanging over this person. So that's like, there's a lot of risk, but it's going to pay off. You know what I mean? Like, they're floating there. They're not falling. They're hovering above.
Yeah.
There's risk, but don't worry about it. And it was also brought to us in reverse. Again, your inner critic is drowning out your self-love, making you question yourself. Remember that negative self-talk really brings you down and you're hypersensitive to it right now. If you're feeling emotionally fragile, it's a good moment to spend time mending your heart. I think these have all been in a really good projection for you. I think it's really says, like, don't forget, and again, like the first one, to put yourself first. Remember that I know that you're a super positive person, right? But you got to keep remembering that. I think the more you practice that in life, the more. There's times when I go, oh my God, Erica would just get on with it and suck it up and find the best in this moment. So do it, Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does. And being that really positive person, I think I find people often lean on me for their positivity, and that sometimes is a lot. So I do need to take moments and like protect my own positivity and like remember and like refresh.
Yeah. Like use your positivity for yourself. Don't always spend that on other
Yeah.
people like you do. But
Yeah. Sometimes I need to.
yeah. Anyway, there you go. From Guru.
Oh
Guru
my
Josh.
gosh. Wow. That was such a beautiful reading. Thank you so much. What a wonderful
You're so
surprise.
welcome. I'm actually just going to take a photograph of the
Oh,
table right now because it's kind of fun to do that. I'll then
take a photograph. We'll put it on the we can put it on the Instagram as well. Oh my gosh.
alrighty.
So after you've done all that talking, it's your episode today. I'm sorry. Like
No,
you're gonna talk a lot today.
I'm into it. I'm going. I did my warm-ups before we started. Tongue on the
Oh,
teeth.
good. I was gonna suggest some vocal warm-ups, and that might
Maybe we
make
should start
things
meeting 15 minutes earlier
go.
to do them.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're
Give
gonna
me a
bring
break.
this to California today, folks. I've talked a lot about where I'm from originally, which is Yorkshire. I've talked about the scary stuff where I'm from, which I'm sure is where a lot of my trauma comes from, and the stories that I've been telling and that I learned when I was a child. But the story I'm going to tell today is something that happened here in Palm Springs, not that long ago when you think about it. I mean, a little bit before we were born, but not that far. And we're going to talk about a dark mystery, murder mystery that happened here in Palm Springs, actually only a couple of blocks from me now. For those of our listeners that don't know much about Palm Springs, I'm sure you've seen it on postcards, on movies, that sort of thing. Very beautiful, picturesque, mid-century modern homes, art galleries, palm trees, beautiful mountains. We are in the desert, maybe about an hour and a half away from LA. It's a great town, a very lazy town, a very quiet town. We have about 6 months of the year when it's absolutely packed because it's nice and cool, and it never snows here. It barely rains, so the weather's always been like perfect for like half the year. So we get very, very busy.
But also nice and cool
Yeah.
is like it's not cold. Like it's
Yeah.
always warm. It's always warm. It's perennially warm. So cool is like it's 25 degrees Celsius,
Yeah.
30 degrees Celsius all day long. So cool is a really relative term.
Yeah, it really is. But it's beautiful. Like my favorite thing about this town is that you can always go out to eat, and just have the I feel like I'm on vacation all the time. My favorite memories as a child were like going on vacation with my family, but like the evenings, like going to a restaurant and sitting outside and eating, watching my dad slowly get drunk off a couple of glasses of wine, like watching my mom smoke her ciggies and have a martini and yell at my dad, like perfect. Picturesque. So let's go back to the summer of 1983. It's July. It's warm out. It's getting to like it's like the hottest time of the year. It's an evening. The air is thick with the scent of blooming jasmine and the palm trees and the smell of the dirt. Just imagine. It's a nice clear night in the desert, which usually is here. It very rarely gets cloudy. So you've always got a beautiful view of the sky. There's an exclusive neighborhood called Las Palmas, not so far from here. It's an extravagant neighborhood, beautiful houses, very quiet, very safe. Everyone knows everybody. And there was a beautiful cocktail party going on at one of the most opulent estates in the area. So a beautiful mid-century Palm Springs estate here in the desert. The guest lists were like the who's who of Palm Springs. There was like socialites, movie stars, influential business moguls. There's a lot of money here in the desert that, people own these big houses, fancy cars. They come here for like the cooler months, but there's a lot of old money here, like Lucille Ball had a home here. Frank Sinatra loved it here. Like you've had the whole Rat Pack. Like there's so many stories. If you go into any restaurant in Palm Springs and speak to the owner, anything from like an old restaurant, they all have stories of when Frank came in. You know what I mean? So it's like a scene straight out of a Hollywood film. Imagine people laughing, clinking their glasses, beautiful candlelight, gorgeous outdoor space around the pool. Everyone's having a great time. But as the night wore on, something a little bit more sinister than a simple gathering of the affluent was brewing within the walls of the estate. Um, by morning, 12 of Palm Springs' most prominent figures, 12,
12.
would be found dead, seated around a grand dining table.
No.
Their faces frozen, an eerie semblance of peace. Like,
Ooh! Oh my gosh.
so the
What
discovery
happened?
was made by the housekeeper, arriving early next morning to prepare for another day. What she found inside the mansion was a scene of such meticulous horror that it would haunt her for the rest of her life. Imagine you going in to like do your job, you're going with all of your gear, you start in the kitchen, great. In the lounge. Back then, like rooms were separated too. Like none of this open plan stuff, right? There was like rooms in houses. So you're going around and we did
Yeah.
bedroom, whatever. And then you go in, and these 12 tables are seated around the perfect table. Their hands apparently, this sounds really silly, but I'm reading this. Apparently, their hands were like still resting on the table.
Is that the movie House of Wax when they go into the town and the people are all like posed very macabre like? That's what it's reminding me
Yeah.
of.
I mean, it sounds like I'm like laughing because it sounds like it's straight out of a horror film.
Yeah, it does. Like this is what I'm yeah.
So
Yeah.
apparently the police were apparently so the police come like this woman was screaming blah blah blah. Apparently there was no signs of a struggle and no indication of forced entry. Not a single clue left behind to explain a cause of death either in that moment.
What?
Yeah. Coroner's report was equally mystifying, apparently. Each victim had a small puncture wound at the base of the neck. Clean, precise,
Like a
almost
needle?
surgical. But what kind of weapon could do that?
Was it like a little like a needle size or was it like a like
Yeah.
oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so apparently the media, like, obviously went like crazy and they called it the Palm Springs Friendly Murders. Palm Springs Friendly Murders. It wasn't long before the town was buzzing with theories. Was it a cult? Was it a deranged killer with a bizarre obsession? Or something even more like otherworldly? Like you go straight to cult, right?
Yeah. Why did they call it the friendly murders? Because they looked happy still?
Honestly, I didn't even think about it. I thought maybe the family name was Friendly. I'd have to look into it
Oh,
actually, because you know what's funny? I didn't even look up a name of the names of the victims.
that's all
If
right.
you're
That
watching this, I
we
am
can
quickly going on Google.
because it's such a I guess maybe if they looked like they were very peaceful, it seemed like a really friendly like I don't know, a friendly death or something is
Yeah.
what I would
So
kind of
the
like.
Friendlies were millionaires from San Francisco, and they moved to Palm Springs in the early
Oh,
70s. They bought their house in Las Palmas
okay.
about a year before they were killed. Yeah,
Okay, so
they
that would
kept
predict.
close company, but fit the neighborhood mold. So, like, I mean, still, okay, I'm not going to talk too much, but we are fortunate enough to know like lots of people in this town. I think my husband is a business owner here. I work in the hospitality industry. People in my company are very well connected. We've met a lot of people, and we've been to parties and we've been to events where you're like, should I be here? Because these people are
Have you
like
been to the house?
rich gold. No, but I will say I'm not going to tell you who or how we got into it on here because I don't want to invade anyone's privacy. But we have had multiple parties in Lucille Ball and Lucille Ball's house. Yeah. Lucy and Desiarnaz's house. Their very first house
Oh
in
my
Palm Springs.
gosh.
Like
Next
we
time I'm
like as
coming
in
to
we've
visit, we're
like used
going.
the bathrooms and we've danced in the living room and we've like had drinks and like smoked ciggies outside and you know.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, sorry, we
Okay.
digress. But that's why there was friendly
Yeah.
murders, because they were called the friendlies. Obviously, the media went crazy. Like there was all these theories around town. An investigator like dug deeper, right? They assigned like a team for this because it was super weird. These things don't usually happen here in Palm Springs, you know. It's a safe neighborhood. Like I said, especially back then in like the 80s, right? I mean, I grew up mainly in the 90s, but I still remember our parents like in the UK, like leaving our doors open like all the time and you would like just run around and do what you want as kids, right? Like here, I can't imagine like there must have been kids like everywhere running around the streets, you know, people leaving the doors open. So the security footage from that night cut off right from the house after dinner was served. So dinner was served. That's the last they had on the security footage. Witnesses, every single guest who had arrived at the party was accounted for, except of course, like the dead people. So they left. So it happened after most people left, right? A lot of the people left, and there was only these 12 people around the table. One of the most unsettling details to emerge from the investigation was the lack of any clear motive. These people had no obvious enemies, no reason to be targeted. I mean, so many people around here have got like had money, especially back then, big houses, Hollywood stars and stuff. They were kind of the people who everyone wanted to be friends with too. So why were they murdered in such a grotesque, ritualistic manner? Like they're being manipulated, like their bodies
Yeah.
have been played with afterwards, they've been put in these positions. Like the murders were all so precise. Like I wonder if maybe like they were
Yeah.
like, what's that
Back
stuff
in the
that you
day.
see in movies when they put on cloth and on their face?
But you know what they say that doesn't work like it does in the movies. Like
Oh,
it needs a lot, especially if there were 12 of them sitting around. You couldn't just like put one. It's like you
fair
need a
enough.
whole lot of it, and you'd have to hold them for a long time. That's a very allegedly from the research I've done. That's a really dramatized thing that doesn't work.
Yeah. Anyway, as the case went cold, Palm
California?
Springs as a city tried to move on, but something shifted in the town's collective consciousness, right? Like the town didn't feel as safe anymore. Like people were worried. They were like, "What is this? Can you imagine?" Yeah, it's
This
pretty
is so
scary.
scary.
So that year, the swanky parties and events became a little less frequent. People were a little bit more guarded. People weren't socializing. There was definitely a dip in in social events in the town. Like it became a little bit quieter, and the mansion where the murders took place was eventually sold, and life returned to it eventually, in the usual rhythm of Palm Springs life, except the occasional whispers. I mean, I researched this. I asked a friend for like, do you know any ghost stories or like scary shit that has happened in Palm Springs before? And he was like, "Oh my God, did you ever hear of the Friendly Murders?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Look it up. Here's a thing." And that's, I looked in, I scrolled the internet for it, and this is what I came with, but I've never heard it. I guess it's because it's such a community here. I'm sure they're
Yeah.
probably really embarrassed about it or like still like taken back because maybe this person is still living here in this town. Um, some who have visited the estate since then claim that since that night, like at certain times of the evening, if it's a quiet night or like the wind's blowing down from the mountains, you can like still hear like faint party sounds, clinking of glasses, laughter.
Whoa.
Like the party never really ended. Ugh, chills.
That is freaky.
And
And
like
what year was
really
that
close. That
again?
was
Oh, 83,
1983.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So like people are definitely still alive that were around then. There's people that would remember
Yeah.
that and like remember it
Yeah.
happening.
I mean, so my boss, she born and raised here, right? Lived most of her life. She obviously left for a while when she was like younger, and then she came back. I should ask her about it actually. It's a weird thing to talk to your boss about though. Like, hey girl, can you just stop what you're doing and tell me about that gruesome murder that happened to be very close to where you lived as a child? Might
I
be
think
triggering.
that's totally reasonable.
You're like, absolutely do it in your next one-on-one.
Yes.
But so to this day though, it remains completely unsolved.
Stop it. They never found,
Yeah.
they never, nothing. Were
Was it
there
an
like
act
a
of human
toxicology
cruelty or
report?
something far beyond our understanding? So weird,
Was
huh?
there like, what did anything come up in the toxicology reports when they, because they would have had um autopsies, right?
I have no information on that because I am new to murder mystery solving. This is
Research.
why you are the CEO. I mean, I'm sure this is the story like that I read. Like, let's Google. We'll do that in an after show. We'll give more
Yeah,
information.
maybe
Toxicology report. Toxicology, is
we'll
that
do
right?
some extra research. Toxicology, yeah.
Yeah. Spooky, huh? Especially in a town like this.
That's
Like
so
the
wild.
person that did it could be like living next door.
Yeah, yeah. Like, oh my gosh, that's so spooky. You don't know, they could still be there. They could like then I wonder like how many are there other unsolved murders or like murders that they thought were explained, but actually were like them trying this way of killing people out, like, on their old neighbor and like, oh, Mr. Smith just died because he was 95. No. Did you look at the base of his neck? Did he have a little puncture mark?
Oh my God, Erica, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Well, I think that you shouldn't go to any big dinner parties.
Oh, damn it. I love dinner
Lock your
parties.
doors.
Lock your doors and don't go to dinner parties.
But you've got some guard dogs that'll wake
Oh,
you if
I
anyone tries to
do.
come
My
stab you in the night.
babies, my beasts. Did you even say hello to
Yeah.
Parker? Say hello to our listeners.
Yeah.
We don't want to.
Oh, I don't know if Parker said hello to everyone. I said hello to Parker earlier.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Well,
What
anyway, that was the
what a
story of the Palm Springs Friendly
mystery.
Murders. next time you visit, we are gonna go
That's
find the estate.
yes. Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, if I didn't start a new job this week, I would be on a plane immediately.
Playing.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Anyway, that was a
Yes.
great one. I think I thought that was really
That
fun
was
doing
such a
them.
great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a great one. I loved the full reading. Thank you. I'm feeling like very zen and inspired and motivated and also terrified.
I know. But you're gonna do great, babes. And cheers to you. And cheers to the friendly family.
Yes.
And cheers
Yes. I hope
to all of
they
our listeners here at Macabre&
cheers to our
Company.
listeners. Yes, make sure you follow us at Macabre and Company on TikTok and Instagram, and definitely sign up for the Patreon. Patreon has our debriefs on there. There's a couple of those up. There is our ghost hunting adventure in Victoria with myself and my nephew. We went looking for Doris.
Mhm.
There will be a club up shortly. There's all kinds of fun things on there. I'll post pictures of the jumper that I'm wearing that is from our early days. And so definitely go to Macabre and Company on Patreon and sign up there. It's just $5 a month and it will help us keep making content for you. Also, if you don't have $5 a month, that's totally fine. I totally get it. But definitely give us a like, a subscribe, a share, tell your friends about us because that really helps us as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, as have a wonderful week. And we will see you on the next episode of Macabre& Company. And as always,
Stay spooky.
woo!
Woo.